Let's talk about Shiliao, Chinese dietary therapy. It might be called something different at your college. And this is also helpful to think about herbs in this way too. So we're talking about the 5 flavors today. This is very important. I absolutely love diet in my clinic. I use it constantly as a first line of action pretty much for almost all patients. So what are our 5 flavors? We have sweet, salty, bitter, sour, pungent. And there's different kinds within each one too. So let's have a discussion about which way the energy goes, which way the energy is pushed with each flavor in a sense, and what it does in the body, and a few examples of each. So first, let's start with pungent. So pungent is your spicy, acrid, called in herbs quite often. We have hot spicy, we have cool spicy, and we also have neutral spicy in this category. But all pungents take the energy up and out. All of them do. So this is why you see it in herbs a lot used for EPIs. But in Chinese dietary therapy, we'll use it for things like EPIs also. We might use cinnamon or peppermint to help with clearing an EPI out, a cold. We also might use it for lung issues, right? It has a strong moving action to it. So it goes up and it can go up to the lungs, and it can move things like phlegm or stasis in the lungs of any kind, or the heart. I'm just going to say the upper jiao especially. Certainly pungent can be used anywhere in the body if you're trying to move something like damp or a stasis, because it goes also to the surface of the body. So it really just circulates through. This is why you'll see in a lot of modern kind of Western supplemental formulas, a lot of people add cayenne now because this is a hot pungent. And what does it do to the formula? It makes the formula more fast acting. Okay, so we have hot pungents and cooling pungents again. So if you've got hot phlegm or cold phlegm, you can decide which one to use. Maybe there's hot phlegm, you decide on peppermint just to move the phlegm. And if it's cold phlegm, perhaps you decide on something like cayenne or guizhi, cinnamon, to just warm and move the phlegm. Okay, so there's pungent. Now let's look at bitter. No one really likes bitter in the Western culture, and we can discuss why. But bitter goes in and down. Bitter is a draining action. Bitter is more cold. So it's really great for damp heat syndromes, toxic heat syndromes, i.e. red infections in the body. And you can see that antibiotics or a lot of little medications like Tylenol and aspirin, if you ever let it touch your tongue or chew it, it's extremely bitter. And it's because they're going after, in a sense, damp or heat in the body, more on the hot side, all of it. Okay, so we have things like bitter melon here, coffee. Celery is the one I use in my clinic the most because it's nice and cooling. Most people like celery, they love or hate it, but it will help to drain and clear out damp heat in the body. And maybe they've got a lot of liver toxicity or kidney heat in the kidney channel or something like this. You can use celery just to kind of clear out and drain. Okay, it's also a purgative to certain kind of bitters. All right, next one is sour. Now sour, think of when you eat a lemon, you go, all right? So sour contracts and it kind of pulls everything in. So here we have lemons, limes, rose hips, vinegars, of course, good ferments we're going to use in our clinic, meaning fermented by bacterial culture and not acid. All right, now sour is used a lot for astringing. So maybe they have hyperhidrosis, they're sweating too much, or maybe they have polyuria, right? Too much urination, too much anything, too much stool, anything coming out of the body. You can use a sour flavor to astringe it. That goes for excess menstrual blood also. So that's how you use sour. You can also use it to astringe something like the liver, so a bit of a detox. We've all heard of the apple cider vinegar detox or using lemon juice to clean the kidneys. So it's because it's going to go to those and suck out some of the toxins. And you can see maybe if there's a damp heat style thing or a bit of an infection going on, you can use sour and bitter together to suck out the toxins, and the bitter will then drain it down and out and help to purge it, right? You see, you can start combining flavors. All right, now then we have sweet. There's 2 different kinds of sweet. There's full sweet and empty sweet. Full sweet is for tonification. These are more on the warming side. These are things like mostly grains and meats. And fish. This is more on the sweeter side. Now this is great to tonify yin fluids. It's the only flavor that really tonifies the yin fluids. It'll tonify yin, it'll tonify qi. This one has a bit of an up and out action, but it's not really strong for that. It more goes to the center and it just tonifies. Okay, and there's also empty sweet, which is your cooling things. They're cooling and cleansing like fruits and even some vegetables too. Some vegetables are more warm and you can put them on full sweet, but for the most part, vegetables and fruits are more cooling sweet, and grains and meats are more full sweet. So the full sweet tonify and tonify qi and yin, and the empty sweet cool and they cleanse. All right, and our last one is salty. Salty, just like bitter, goes in and down, takes the energy that direction. Okay, so salty is really great to break up masses. You've heard of using iodine or even salt, seaweeds, I should say, for things like goiter or thyroid issues where it swells. Well, it's because it's going to break up the mass. Or if you've ever heard of someone drinking Epsom salts, the oral kind, not the kind you bathe in, to try and purge their bowels, well, that's extreme salt that's taking everything in and down, right? So it's purging out. So the constipation is considered a mass also. Maybe you see in your Chinese herbology, you'll see a lot of salty herbs used for tumors. We'll say benign tumors for this case. Okay, so there's your 5 flavors. Let's do a quick case because we just love a quick case. Patient comes in and they have a fever and they have a little bit of yellow skin. Now, we're not going to talk referrals and red flags here because obviously that's a different story and we refer people, right? And they're having a little bit of attacks. They're seeing a lot of pain coming from their side to their stomach. You look at their tongue, it's red. There's a thick yellow coat. Like I said, they're fevered, they're constipated. They have dark yellow urine, and they're a bit hot and sweaty all the time, and their pulse is excessive, rapid, and slippery. What flavor are you going to use? All right, so we'll probably add in the bitter flavor to really drain damp heat, because this person clearly has damp heat. It sounds like maybe liver or gallbladder or something like that. Okay, so when you're going to put them on the bitter flavor foods. And there's lots more to talk about in this, but this is just a small thing on your 5 flavors. Okay, there you go. Start using that in clinic.